Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I felt like I needed to do a video on this new gear selling tool because it's not as obvious as you think it is. And I think people are selling a whole bunch of stuff that they'd rather keep. So we kind of went through this journey of it got released, it was bugged. They then turned it off, but they didn't really tell anyone it was off. And suddenly you were keeping everything that you got. And then yesterday, they turned it back on with a fix. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the stuff that I've noticed, and I'm then going to talk you through how I'm using it, because I think it's important. So many people are going to sell really good gear. Let's start with a very easy one. So anywhere in campaign, you can go in, and the way this works, so if I set up anything in terms of filters in campaign, it basically carries over for that group of levels. So you see in here, choose the gear you wish to keep. All the other gear will be sold. So I untick the lot. I don't want to keep any of this gear from campaign. It's automatically sold when it's farmed. That's easy. That works. I set it on brutal. And then if I was, for whatever reason, farming in normal, it keeps the same filter. Yeah, I have to go in and do that, though, for each of the different types of levels. So if I've not done it, let's say, I don't think I did it in the earlier stuff. Let's see. I didn't know. So if I go into a different level of campaign, as in where it drops a different item set, I would have to go in again and unselect the things that I don't want to keep, or just hit clear selection and it won't keep anything. So campaign is kind of good. I mean, it saves you having to kind of mix between dungeons and campaign, right? So all of that is useful. Now's where it starts to get a little bit more juicy. And I guess we'll start with Dragon. For me, this is my free-to-play account. This is what I'm going to do on my free-to-play. I'll talk you through some of the stuff I've noticed. So when you're in the filters on here, you notice I'm just going to sell off gear sets that I don't care about. Yeah, so the first thing is sell off gear sets I don't want. Now, I'm also selling off 5-star and below. That's not something I'd recommend you do on a lower level account. 5-star, sell off anything completely crap. Honestly, even rare gear can be useful. I wish I could say, for 5-star items, sell the rare. And then keep 6-star rare. That's what I wish I could do, but I can't do that. It doesn't let me say, this is what I want to do for 5-star. This is what I want to do for 6-star. So you either decide to keep 5-star gear and filter through it, which you definitely can do, or I'm pushing it in the more aggressive cleanse style, and I'm just removing 5-star gear from my farm. For free-to-play, it's quite a poor suggestion, so don't do it. My main account, I absolutely don't keep any 5-star gear anymore. But on the free-to-play, I probably should be keeping it. So certain gear sets I'm keeping here. That's fine. Now, this is one of the most important things that I've noticed. If, like I've done here on my free-to-play, this is what I originally set my settings at. So I'd said, look, I don't care about flat HP. I don't care about resistance in these sets. And I don't care about crit damage as like my main stats. What I want you to do is to find me items with HP %, attack %, speed, crit rate, accuracy. And then what I thought would happen is, if it's got one of those substats and it's 6-star, this is my original settings, then it would keep it. Now what it's actually doing is it's saying, it's almost doing it in reverse. It's almost saying, hold on a minute, if it finds flat HP as any of the substats, instant sell. Yeah, so it's not going to be like, oh, this legendary 6-star speed piece has got speed, crit rate, accuracy, and HP. Therefore, he definitely wants these 3. We will keep the piece. It actually says, you know what? It's got flat HP. It's gone. So I would suggest for everybody, even like the most endgame player, I think you've got to keep all of the substats on. I think you've got to, because of the way it sells. And I guess tell me if I'm wrong, but this is definitely the way it feels like it's playing to me. I feel like you need to have all of the substats active, even if they're not ones you care about, because it will just look at the piece and say, has it got any of the ones he doesn't want? If it's got anything he doesn't want, it gets sold. So the only thing I am doing here is on gloves. This is, again, up to you. But, and again, like I wish you could be more specific. Right, so I'm saying on gloves, anything flat stat, HP, defense, and attack, get rid. And for gloves, if it's attack %, get rid. Now, there's an argument to say you're going to want some attack percent gloves on your account if you have bomb champions. I get it. And there's also an argument to say if you're farming speed gear, specifically speed gear, then you might want to keep all of the flat stats, because if it rolls speed, you want to check to see if you get quad speed rolls, right? So again, it depends how much you want to try and use this tool versus how much you want to make sure you make the absolute min-max best choices that you can make. And the best choices you can make is for you to be able to be more dynamic with the way you do your selling. And honestly, that's where something like RSL Helper wins over this, hands down. Like RSL Helper tops this by an absolute mile right now, because you can just be way more specific. On chests, I basically just said don't sell any flat stats, but again, I'm going to activate all of the sub stats again. That, and then boots, basically don't keep the flat stat main roll, but activate all the sub stats again. So it's doing a bit of filtering out for me, right? And the more aggressive you are with the filters, the less stuff you're going to have to filter through yourself. But I don't necessarily think, this tool is that great, honestly. I don't think it's like brilliant. In Ice Golem, I hadn't even set this up myself because I don't really farm Ice Golem a lot. But again, I'm just going to keep all of the substats active, decide which gear sets I actually want to play around with here. And for the free-to-play, this is probably it. So reflex gear, top tier. Resistance gear, very strong, albeit the new Forge Pass is just straight better. So, this reflex and resistance are the two main reasons you would come here. Provoke set's probably the third reason. The other stuff here, defense, maybe not anymore. Crit rate on a free-to-play is quite useful still. So 4 sets that I'm after. I keep all the substats across the board. And then again, we just get rid of the flat stat stuff. And it's the same settings as I've just said. Okay, and then on Fire Knight, again, it comes down to what you want to do for gear sets, right? But for Fire Knight, for me, I've taken Fury out, Curing out, Frenzy out. Don't really use those at all in any builds that I do. Immunity is questionable because Stone Skin's just better. But Immunity is slightly different to Stone Skin. So it's still useful to have some. Shield set, still top tier. Bolster set is straight better, but shield set's still very good. Crit damage is good. Savage is excellent. Stun sets are brilliant. Regen is top tier as well. So there's a lot of good sets in here. And again, I just need to make sure that I've done the right substat filters. Yeah, all of this looks good. So same settings down here. So, and make sure we've got the rare on. So look, it's, I don't know. I feel like it's throwing up more confusion than it's actually fixing problems at the moment, because it's just not that great. Like in Spider here, what would you get rid of, honestly? Oh, it's a tough one, because again, like some substats you don't care about so much, like the flat ones. But what I actually want to say is if it's got like at least one of these rolls, keep it. But you can't do that. You have to say, keep it all, and then I'll have to make decisions on it. That's basically what you've got to do. I'd rather it was saying, or rather, if I could tell it, if it's HP and it's got HP percent, then keep it. That's what I want to tell it, but I can't tell it that at all. I basically just have to keep it all for the Spider. I can't think, what would you turn off? Because if you turn off flat attack, for example, then if it finds flat attack and it's got everything else is godlike, it's going to sell it. So I just don't feel like you can turn any of these filters off. For the amulets, you could just straight turn off attack ones. But again, you might want an attack one down the line for a champion that is a bomb champion. Otherwise, you could just turn off attack. They're generally the worst thing you can run. And then for the banners, I think you need all of these. And I don't think you can afford to turn off any of these because of the way it sells stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe, again, if you're a later game, you might just sell all 5-star gear. But for Spider, I think that's quite dangerous to do as well, because you might get a legendary piece that, quad rolls into something very good, and that's better than some 6-star pieces. So I don't think there's a lot you can filter out in Spider, honestly. So look, hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully it's kind of answered some questions. And I mean, hopefully Raid kind of share a bit more light around their view on this. Maybe they're going to tweak it in the future. But at the moment, it feels a bit naff compared to what I was hoping. That's my view. Anyway, guys, I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you later.